$33.5 million awarded for broadband deployment projects in Kansas. NTIA awards $13 million from the Public Wireless Supply Chain Innovation Fund. The FCC proposes banning early termination cable fees, and Utopia Fiber completes another fiber-to-the-home project in Utah. Those stories and more on This Week in the Broadband Universe. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Craig Corbett. The state of Kansas awarded $28.5 million for broadband projects through its Lasting Infrastructure and Network Connectivity, or LINK, program, another $5 million from the state's Broadband Acceleration Grant program. Among the providers receiving funds for last-mile connections and middle-mile networks from the LINK program, $4.1 million to QuickCom, Ideatech, $3.8 million, and Vive, $1.2 million. Among the providers slated to receive awards from the Broadband Acceleration Grant Program, Blue Valley Technologies, Haviland Broadband, and Midco. A total of $13 million in a second round of grants awarded this week by the NTIA from the Public Wireless Supply Chain Innovation Fund. 7 projects covering 6 states in support of furthering security and energy efficiency testing, automation, and utilizing artificial intelligence to improve network and software testing. Among the winners, Northeast University, $2 million for testing of open RAN systems, Mississippi State University, $1.32 million, Virginia Tech, $2 million, and Michigan State, $1.73 million. The goal of the Innovation Fund, to develop a global telecom market and strengthen the nation's supply chain. On the agenda for the FCC's December 13th meeting, a proposal to prohibit early termination fees and to require credits and rebates after cancellation of cable and direct broadcast satellite service. If the notice of proposed rulemaking is adopted by a vote of the full commission, customer service protections would require cable and DBS service providers to grant subscribers a prorated credit or rebate for any remaining whole days in a monthly or periodic billing cycle following cancellation of service. In other FCC news, the Commission this week granted a 90-day extension for some broadcasters to implement a new emergency alert rule. This comes after a joint request filed by the National Association of Broadcasters and REC Networks. The FCC previously issued a report and order directing emergency alert service participants to transmit certain messages in an IP-based format instead of versions in the legacy EAS format, which usually conveys less information. The order also required EAS participants to replace information that automatically appears in EAS test announcements with more easily understood language. The extension was granted due to an unexpected delay in the delivery of a firmware update by EAS equipment vendor Sage Alerting Systems. Utopia Fiber has announced completion of a new $5.9 million fiber-to-the-home project in the city of Cedar Hills, Utah. Construction began in June of 2022. Cedar Hills now the 18th city in the Utopia Fiber family with gigabit speed internet. More than 2,600 residential addresses were connected as part of the project. Over the past 14 years, Utopia Fiber has successfully designed, built, and operated nearly $500 million worth of fiber projects throughout Utah and the western United States, including operational partnerships with Idaho Falls, Yellowstone Fiber, and Bountiful Fiber. Canada recently completed its mid-band 3,800 megahertz spectrum auction. The big winner, TELUS Communications, with 1,430 licenses for a cool $620 million. Bell Canada invested $518 million for 939 licenses. Rogers Communications awarded 860 licenses for their investment of $475 million. Quebecor Inc.'s Videotron took home 305 licenses for roughly $300 million. Altogether, the Canadian government bringing in more than $2.1 billion. They awarded a total of 4,099 licenses. How many U.S. homes will still have traditional pay TV video service by 2028? Survey says less than a third. That's according to the latest study from Global Data. Cord cutting and a shift to over-the-top streaming services will result in a decline from the current 42% penetration rate to 32% 5 years from now. The report also predicting that total linear pay TV subscriptions in the U.S. will drop below 50 million within the next 2 years. More viewers will be spending time on AVOD or ad-supported streaming video, and free ad-supported TV services like the Roku channel, Tubi, Peacock, and Pluto TV. And speaking of Roku, shares back above $100 for the first time since April of last year, that 19-month Wall Street high, in part due to Cannonball research analyst Vasily Karasyov upgrading the streaming company to a buy status. Roku beat Q3 forecast, but still has a long way to go to reach its all-time high of $473.70 a share back in July of 2021. Bundling is all the rage, whether it's the current State Farm ad campaign with Patrick Mahomes or streaming services. According to a report in the Wall Street Journal, Apple TV Plus and Paramount Plus in talks to find a way to focus on churn reduction and increased profitability. Apple recently bumped the price of the ad-free Apple TV Plus service by $3 to $9.99 a month. No word on what pricing would be for the combination of the two services or what elements of Paramount's streaming content would be included. And speaking of streaming, Q3 revenues increased 4% from the prior quarter, up to $16.7 billion. That from Wells Fargo analyst Stephen Cahall. Netflix took in $8.5 billion and accounted for 51% of all streaming revenue. Disney Plus generated 13%, Paramount 7%, Peacock a 5% share. The report showed a slowing of subscriber growth, 17% last year, 11% in 2023, 7% expected for 2024, 5% in 2025. By that time, estimates are that there will be a total of 708 million streaming subscribers in the U.S. And finally, NASCAR has become the latest sports organization to get on board with streaming live events. A 7-year rights deal announced with Amazon Prime Video cranking up in 2025. NBC and Fox will get renewals. TNT again airing races for the first time since 2014. Estimates are that the agreements will bring in more than $7.7 billion for NASCAR. That's an increase of 40%. $7.7 billion. Gosh, it's like Darrell Waltrip used to say, boogity, 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 let's go racing, boys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on This Week in the Broadband Universe.